Good day and welcome to the program. The question we should attempt to answer on Press R today is, should traditional rulers do partisan politics in a society where adhering or affiliating to a political ideology is seeking an alternative means to improve on the lives of the people without bias, without hate? Why should traditional rulers not do partisan politics? Conversely, in a context where partisan politics is a generator of hate, war, and even worse, it will be a thin line to walk for a traditional ruler. They will unavoidably become agents of division, fuel conflict, and obstacles to development. We have 3 traditional rulers here with us. We're going to ask them what problems they have, whether they are into politics, whether they aspire to be in politics. What is it that should happen for a traditional ruler to do politics? We also have a journalist that I am going to introduce to you. We'll begin with the traditional rulers. His Royal Highness Seseko Eyongta is the chief of Fortabe Village. Fortabe Village is in Manu, division of the Southwest region. Welcome to Press R, Chief.
Thank you very much, Killian. It's an honor to be here, especially to defend our institution, the sacred institution and the very foundation of the Republic of Cameroon and other African countries. We are here to enlighten our televiewers and also to make the powers that be to know our dreams, to know what we aspire to get, what we need as accompaniment to make our services better for our people and for the state.
Thank you. That is just what we look forward to having from you and your colleagues here with you on the set. His Royal Highness Shugungong Emmanuel is the king of Kumzekuk village. That's in the Northwest region. Is that in Menchum?
Yeah, thank you.
Did I pronounce that name okay?
Yes, the fund of Kumzekuk village, and that is in the Fungom subdivision, Menchum division of the Northwest region of Cameroon. And thank you for tendering the invitation to come and also say what our fundoms, which are, in another sense, we say the family is a basic unit of the society. We could also refer to villages, fundoms, chiefdoms as those components that make up a state or the components that make up a country.
Rightly so. Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. You call it fund. That's what we call out there in the Northwest and in parts of the Southwest. In Liv-BLM I have a fund there. Yes, that is correct. But I prefer to call you king. You are a king. In your right. You are a king because these are kingdoms in the real sense of it. That's not going to be debate. We call it locally fund or chief. But you are kings in your different kingdoms.
Thank you, Killian.
Then I'm going to meet another king, the king of Mbengwi, His Royal Highness Njokem Adino Awa III. Thank you very much for accepting to come to our set.
Thank you, Killian. I want to thank my colleagues, the other kings, for accepting the invitation to be here today.
Thank you for coming back. Marcel Fonquen is the political desk editor in the Guardian Post newspaper. Thank you very much, colleague Marcel, for coming.
Thank you, Killian, and we want to thank God for a day such as this. I look forward to more revealing and pertinent exchanges on this platform this day. Thank you very much.
I feel protected by you. The two of us, you and I, hemmed by these kings, these funds that we have here. They also are going to give us their blessing, because when you are with the fund, with the king, you can only get blessings from them.
Certainly.
Yes, thank you. And if I had my cap on, I would have greeted them locally. We don't do that when we don't have our caps on our head, so we can only greet them. You are welcome, Your Royal Highnesses.
Thank you.
We are going to invite Emanuela Vemnui right now to give us what the papers were feeding us in the week that just passed. She read the newspapers. This is Press Review.
News on politics flooded newspaper columns this week, with CPDM reportedly blocking SDF delegation from entering a village in the South region in the Post, as gendarmes watch helplessly and the SDO refuses to intervene, causing SDF to blast regime accusing CPDM of fanning hate and tribalism in the Guardian Post. To the Sun newspaper, OC's nationwide tour causing panic as SDF calls government to take its responsibilities. But the presidential majority mobilizes to preserve peace before 2025 in Cameroon Tribune. Atanganji then waters down nationwide momentum on voter registration in the Herald Tribune, insisting voter registration should be voluntary and not compulsory. This received a backlash from Akere Mona, who hits Minister Atanganji for discouraging remarks on voter registration in The Voice. Then visiting SDF National Chairman sizes up strength and frustrations in the Northwest in the news. Happening when impasse persists in Martinez Zogu's murder trial in the median as court disagrees with lawyers over free access to case file. Cameroon and Congo then take Mbalam Nabeba iron ore project to another level in the Guardian Post, and government says it is fully in support of a free and responsible press in Cameroon, and thus MINCOM and UNESCO engages journalists on climate change in The Reporter. Kamasechi Yaoundé branch then uses World Press Freedom Day to crusade for environmental protection before calling for more offensive in communication in Cameroon Tribune. Cameroon Tribune's further presents the push to local development said to be afloat. Prime Minister Joseph Diengute then salutes Anglican Church's contribution to nation building in municipal updates, before the Post rather presents a gloomy picture of 10 million Cameroonians gnashing in extreme poverty in the country. Just when Conciliator uncovers disastrous management at Kumba City Council in 2023 activity report in municipal updates, 6 people are reported jailed for disturbance of quiet enjoyment in Batoke in the Dawn newspaper. And as Cameroon's potential attracting more global mining experts and investors in the extractive industries in the Guardian Post, the news presents men of integrity shining the face of Donga Mantung division, especially as 3 Cameroonian firms have secured 29 billion CFA francs contracts to maintain roads in the horizon. Preparations ahead of the 52nd National Day then gathers steam in Cameroon Tribune, among other news stories. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Thank you very much, Manuela. We just come to you, Marcel. You are the news person on the set. You followed that press review by Manuela Vemnui. And what we do here as a tradition is the journalist chooses one of the topics for us to take as a teaser on the program. Which one do you go in for?
Certainly, I will go in on the attack on the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Honorable Joshua Osi, also a traditional ruler, and then the unfortunate incident that we record in the Southwest region where some gendarmes have been killed. I think those are the 2 issues that are very important to me.
Yes,
views on this.
Talking about the first, what will you say about that first?
I think it breathes in the air of primitivity into our politics, because we cannot be 60 years down the line in terms of our independence, and a mature party like the SDF, a recognized political party, the national chairman is on the tour, and then you are blocking him. What crime has he committed? So we are giving a negative image to our politics. I think we need to parties need to sensitize their supporters to come of age, because if we continue this way and we have elections next year, we might be heading for the bad.
Now, did you read the details about why they blocked the national chairman of the SDF.
Kilian, it's a narrative that is not even interesting to talk about, because when I read through the release from the Social Democratic Front, all we could see was hate and some kind of hurtful things that is not even good to bring to public discourse. So I think the CPDM and the powers that be, they really need to work on that. It's surprising that other parties have not even reacted to that situation, because today, remember, it's the same South region. In 2022 or 2019, I think it was MRC. Today we are talking about the SDF. So the other opposition parties think that it will end at that, then they are fooling themselves. Tomorrow will be another party. And
well, yes, we all condemn such.
No, you don't say we all. You condemn. Don't say we all. You condemn. We have not seen the all you are talking about.
Well, I'm not going into the nitty-gritties. What I want to say, Marcel, is that those who blocked the SDF, were they in TPDM uniform? Because for you to say it's CPDM...
It is not Marcel Foucault saying that it's CPDM. If you have read through the release of the SDF is very clear about it. They are indigenes of Biwongbulu.
Yes.
They identify themselves as supporters of the CPDM. Some of them were putting on CPDM paraphernalia. Till date, the CPDM has not denied that accusation.
Well, that's a developing story. I just want to say it could just be an incident by indigenes of the place.
It cannot be an incident, Kilian. We cannot be having the same incident in the same region and you take it for granted. That is the region of origin of the head of state.
No,
if the powers that be are being silent, it is sending a wrong message to
the head of state has nothing to do with this.
Is that the region of origin of the head of state, yes or no?
That is not a yes or no.
No, it's a yes or no answer. It means you are playing politics with this question.
This is what I am saying. Even in your house, you have stubborn children.
I don't have stubborn children. God can never give me stubborn children. That one is an issue out of the debate.
Well, but stubborn is not just stubborn per se. Stubborn is a word used for someone who doesn't agree.
Okay, assuming that you say stubborn. So in this case, is it a CPDM that is stubborn or the SDF that is stubborn?
What I want you to understand is that you could have people from the south in a village who committed that act who are not necessarily CPDM. That's what I want you to investigate well, to know that it is CPDM, because it is just so easy, because it is in the south, for people to just say it is CPDM. That's just my point. I'm not saying that we should condone people.
Kilian, at least I think I spoke in clear English. The SDF says these persons identify themselves as supporters of the CPDM. The SDF, you even saw the video, some of them put on CPDM party uniforms. Well, it is not Marcel Foucault saying it is what it is.
Well, I will leave it at that, but you also know we have to investigate to be able to know, to have the two sides of the story.
In journalism, political actors should rise to the billing.
In journalism, until you have the two sides of a story, you cannot conclude. That is the point I'm making. Thank you very much. And we're going to ask our Royal Highnesses on the set just to comment on this, because they are the custodians of the traditions. They are the rulers of the villages where they come, and they represent all the other traditional rulers of all the villages that we have here, at least on the set. They represent them. So when you hear this type of thing happening, what will you do if you were in your own sphere of influence?
Thank you, Kilian. Let me take the floor. I think that what happened with the SDF and the program you have organized today is timely, because it's coming at the eve of political rendezvous and at the point when ELECAM is canvassing for more people to register on the electoral registers. And being a fund in my village, I think I also be like a traditional authority in some other villages, because if I will go to Mbengui, I will be received. I go to Fortabe, I will be received by Sisiko. I will be received like I am in my own place. Mm-hmm. If I get to the South region, I meet traditional authorities there, I receive them. That's why we traditional authorities will have one stand to say that whoever is coming in to your fondom or to your chiefdom or to your area of jurisdiction, you should receive the person like your own son. You should play indiscriminately. That's why I would say it's an unfortunate incident that happened in Biwongbulu, that the SDF militants, when they're headed by the chairman himself, were attacked and blocked not to enter the village. And this is just to also say that like we're talking about a disclaimer. If this party issues, the SDF issues that there were CPDM people who blocked them from entry, and then the CPDM could make a disclaimer to say that these things are unfounded. At times, when you go silent, it means that you are accepting wrongdoing.
Okay,
So,
thank you very much. Let us not say they are silent. Yes, it's just 1 week that is happening. We look forward to having maybe a disclaimer, as you say, or a reaction, and it is time for that reaction to come up, because we are going into a very sensitive period in the history of our country. We have elections, presidential election in 2025. We are even also expecting regional elections. We have municipal and we have parliamentary, that's legislative elections. We have so many of these elections coming up, and it is time for the people who govern those in their areas of competence to make sure that this is nipped in the bud. Yes, I'm going to give you the floor this time, Siseko Eyongta, to comment on this topic chosen by Marcel Fokem.
Yes, I think what happened in the region of the South, to me, is considered as a terrorist act. It should be considered as terrorism because they barricaded the road.
No, that's not terrorism, it's an attack.
I am the one describing it in my own words, and I stand by it. If it happened in the Northwest and Southwest, it would have been terrorism. So I stand by my words that, to me, it's an act of terror. Because what did they do? They intimidated the SDF delegation. You could hear them saying that this area is reserved for the CPDM, and this is a section something of the CPDM, and it is a no-go area. They said so in the video. And then when the SDF asked them, you are bragging about this, look at your type of road. They say we are contented with the road the way it is. The video is there, people can listen to. So you don't subject Cameroonians who are moving in their territory for political reasons in terror. So to me, the first thing as traditional ruler would have been for the chief of that village to come out with a press release, to dissociate himself from what, because a traditional ruler was assaulted, and he too could be assaulted if he goes to another village. He should forget about the political aspect, because we are here talking as chiefs. I will talk to the chief of that village to come out by Monday with a press release apologizing to his colleague who was harassed in his village, and then dissociate himself from those who did that act. He should further go out to maybe moderate the atmosphere by making it clear that his village is open to all political parties and to all Cameroonians. This will be a sign of appeasement, and it will make it clear that you can be protected anywhere you are as a colleague chief, as a Cameroonian, by other Cameroonians anywhere you are.
Thank you.
So to me, I think it's not a good thing, but it is not yet late for a better image and a correction to be done.
Exactly, that's what we are saying. We join you to say that, because what you've clearly stated, the only thing I disagree with you is the use of terror. I prefer that, as you said, it's intimidation. In politics, we say intimidation. They were intimidated. Because if it were terror, it would have been worse than that. I agree with you. That's why we are saying that we are going into a very sensitive period in the history of our country. And if this is allowed to continue, of course, others will say, okay, it happened there and nothing was done, so it could happen here. The next king, the next fund we're going to give the floor to is the fund of Mbengwe.
Kilian, just as my colleagues, the other kings have spoken, palaces are places where we receive all types of people, and we are supposed to open up to receive visitors. When I look at something like that, I think at the eve to the election, it is bias, and this is not what we want in our country. We notice that most of the population are not even interested in registering for the elections. When they see things like this, it further discourages them even to go and register, which is not good. We need more. We need the population to register. We need the population to interact, and we are supposed to accept that free politics should be we practice in our country.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Mbe. As we started the program with our intro, we said that there should be nothing that should be a generator of hate, of conflict, of war, and that's referring to the traditional chiefdoms, fondoms, and you are here for us to talk about the behavior of traditional rulers when it comes to politics. Should traditional rulers that your peers are, be involved? Should they do partisan politics? If we were just to add something to partisan politics to make it very clear, it is the type of politics where you identify, you adhere, you defend a political ideology, a political party. Should traditional rulers do partisan politics?
Thank you, Killian. I think I will cue in exactly talking about traditional authorities taking part in partisan politics. Thank you for putting it partisan, because politicking does not only mean militating in a political party. I think other aspects like decision not to take part in election is a political decision. Mm-hmm. If you want to be politically away, you are still making a political decision. It means that whether you register to vote or you don't register to vote, you have taken a political decision, either to register to vote or not to register to vote. And since we are talking about specifically partisan politics, the fon or the chief is a symbol of unity, is the symbol of the sacrosanctity that various fondoms they carry, or chiefdoms. The king or the fon is the representative of the ancestors, whose judgment is not supposed to be biased. The fon has to maintain the values which make him as a fon, so that the ancestors could also be with him, to say that whoever you find is your son or your daughter. That is everybody, whether the sane, the insane, whether of this political party or of that one, whether of this denominational church or this other one, whether Presbyterian, whether Baptist, whatever, whether Muslim. So long as they live in your community, you have legitimate powers to also control them and to also serve them, to hear what they are saying. But when you become partisan, you belong to party A or B. Bed with me, especially with the nature of politics. We have just seen the case in the South region there, where O.C. Joshua, Honorable O.C., is a traditional authority. What happened there may not go down well the throats of the people he governed as a chief. Okay. And you see the kind of tension that it may breed. It may create many disorder and disunity even within the republic, because he is taking part in politics. And then to say that that fonds or chiefs should take part in politics, it is but wrong, because when you look at the virtues of what fonds incarnate, when we talk of hunting, when we talk of food, when we talk of fertility, all these things, the fon meditates and has an atmosphere of tranquility within him and around him, so that the ancestors could clearly communicate where there are issues which need libation, which need incantations, so that we could bless the land and all the inhabitants of the village or community are safe. If you join politics with the nature of barbarism, the nature of blackmail, the nature of even going as far as paying tax to come and kill a political opponent. As I'm talking to you, even in my village, we had a case in the last presidentials where municipal and parliamentary, yes, where I had two sons in the different parties, but today they are not able to see their faces, because one supported this party and did not support his own, and who are even family members. Mm-hmm. You see the hatred that can be occurred or could be brought forth
If
by
the
traditional authorities if they engage in politics.
political,
Their neutrality when it comes to partisan politics is highly recommended, and we should actually practice it. And the state apparatus should also understand that they should not pass through political maneuvers in order to coerce, those natural rulers who are not elected as they are elected to do partisan politics, because it's not going to help. It is really going to disintegrate the society and bring in hatred and disunity, which are not the cardinal values that any state upholds.
Your Royal Highness, you have stated it in the way that I don't see how someone can go against such values for a traditional ruler to be neutral. Because once he is neutral, some of these things will not come up.
Exactly.
But I'm asking you, we are in the context of Cameroon. If you have not yet been approached, I know sooner or later you will be approached by delegations, because it is done to all chiefs, funds, traditional rulers when politicking comes in. When it will come like a storm to you, will you speak the same language after some time?
Without mincing words, Killian, I think when the delegations will start trooping in for campaigns, for elections, and we as funds, we will receive all of the campaign teams that will come, irrespective of which party. All the parties that will come with the various delegations, they will come. The fund will bless them. That go ahead. If I have 2 children who are or 10 children in 10 different political parties, we have over 350 political parties in Cameroon. If even the 400 of them come with different delegations, I will bless all of them.
Thank you very much for that frank answer. But the answer is not really explicit, because when they come with envelopes with money. You will take their money and say, like Fundi used to say, take the money but do what you want.
Okay, Killian, if you send, like I was talking about hunting, what traditional authorities incarnate as when it comes to hunting, when it comes to food and fertility, it means that hunting does not mean I will only give you my son a spear, you go to the bush hunting to catch me, to get me a good game, like we say the lion. Or you get me a leopard, or you get me the biggest.
I like the choice of animals. Most of you use the skin of those animals.
So
I like the choice of those animals.
That is it. It is also in the sense that you have grown up and your children have school, you have blessed them to go to education. If they are making their politics, you observe from the background and encourage them.
Yes.
Go ahead, go and do your
receive
and do it good,
yes, like
and then you catch and bring back home.
Yes.
Whoever wins among the 20 or 50 or 1 million sons that I have, I tell you people should join your brother who has won. Next time you may win. Don't be discouraged. Politics is like that.
Thank you.
And the catching here, I'm saying that the envelope that will come, whether it comes from 1 million of my sons, I will take, because if you have not made your sons to be better, they will not be able to go fight and bring back a good catch.
Frank talk. This is very interesting, this discussion. I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Should traditional rulers do partisan politics? If yes, why should they do? If no, why shouldn't they do?
Well, I will speak from the Cameroonian perspective.
Yes, sure.
And the traditional rulers are, first of all, working in a very delicate situation. We are working in a context where it is sometimes very difficult for you to remain within your norms, within your line of thinking, and within what you have been defined to do. Especially with this context of elitism and with the context of the system of governance that we have, which has to do with delegated representation, and that also has to do with a centralized system. So if it happens that in a kingdom, for example, like Fortabe, we have to delegate somebody to represent us within political parties, first of all, I'm supposed to know the sons and daughters of my village in terms of their capacity. So it is not because party A maybe is stronger that will allow a mediocre son of ours or daughter to go and represent the village. because that will also be an embarrassment to the village. We must understand the fact that today in Cameroon specifically, development is fundamental as a responsibility of the traditional rulers. And for you to get certain development aspects, there is that concept that we call the policy of lobbying. If a traditional ruler does not identify with a political party that is ruling the area, that village automatically is sidelined when it comes to development projects. Let us get it clear. Because the politicians in Cameroon have not yet developed that decency of doing politics. Politics in Cameroon is still considered as a bad game. It's still considered as a game for the unjust. It's still considered as a game where people win and take it all, irrespective of whether the loser is competent and could be brought into the fold. So what happens? Let's take the case of my subdivision, which is Upper Banyang. The CPDM is ruling, is the one that has the council. I noticed that villages that did not vote the incumbent mayor have a lot of difficulties to be part of decision making, which is not right, because there could be people in that village who are competent to accompany that council to success. Secondly, you have a case where the chief could be one of the most competent in his area of jurisdiction. For example, I'm a town planning engineer. So if they have to do something in my area, which is a developing subdivision, and I don't see somebody who can get involved to make things work,
you go in yourself.
I will not be on the fence. I won't be on the fence. I will get involved and make sure things work. The major problem is that most of us who have taken partisan side have not brought back anything useful to our villages. Two, most of us who have taken partisan side have shown a lot of high-level discrimination against those who do not tie with us in the political party where we militate.
I was just going to ask you that, that question. Will you be sincere to come back and look at the person who was tapping you in the back from the other side of partisan politics, come back and say, okay, brother, come, let us work together?
Yes.
Because I have not seen that happen.
Yes, you have not seen happen because it is not talked about. But I know of cases where people, for example, in our own cases, our chieftaincies are not just automatic. In most cases, as it is the case in the Grassfield and some of the northern regions. In our case, sometimes there is contests where princes are contesting and then one wins. The next thing you do is a reconciliation process between you and the brothers. If you don't do that, you're going to have a problem in your leadership. So in the case of a village, when a party has won, as the fund was trying to say here, the next thing for the traditional ruler to do is to bring them back together and make them know that now election is over. What is the way forward? Because when they come for the campaigns, they should be able to bring a program. They should be able to say, fund, if like us, they'll say, we have come for this. This is what we intend to bring to the village if we win. Our colleagues and ourselves, we should be very tactful and careful with those promises. That is why I said we need to know our subjects in court. We need to know them, so that you will know who is telling a lie, because we know those who are dubious. We will not go into politics because of what we know they are there for. So when they come and tell you that story, you will constrain them. We will not say that here. We know how we can constrain them. And we know how we can make them empty if they don't fulfill their promises. Most of our colleagues have failed to do that part.
Yes, particularly in your own part of the country.
Yes.
You have some chiefs who are recognized very high up there by administration, but not necessarily by the inhabitants of the place. What do you do to this one who is a chief and says that he rules over you and has power up there and does not come back to develop? What will you do to that one?
Yes, there are people.
There should be cases like that.
They should be. They are.
Okay.
Yes, you are trying to be moderate. They are, because we are not here to tell lies. There are cases like that. And to be honest, those people are not ruling their villages. They are traditional rulers to the government and in public. They have no legitimacy in their villages. And we have cases where chiefs don't even go to their villages. We have cases where chiefs even pour libation and nothing works. We have cases where chiefs in my area come to certain gatherings and they are taken for who we know they are. We know ourselves. So any chief, because there are some people who took that for political reasons. There are people who took chieftaincy because they wanted to showcase what they have attained in life and all of that. And tradition and customs knows how to give those things. So we are saying that if any person who is one of us and who promise his people to bring something doesn't bring, trust me, his stool will just be there for fancy. And
Yes.
we have examples like that as I speak to you right now.
Yes, the last question to you in this conversation that I have with you, this particular one is, we know about the Ekwe, which is should be the supreme society in your place.
Definitely.
We also know about the Bajuju, the Obasanjo.
Exactly.
And we've been told stories about this, that if you did this and there was no justice in what you did, it will boomerang, you will have results immediately. What has happened that this justice, retributive justice institutions and masquerades and societies are not making things happen the way we have grown up to learn?
Well, the first thing is that for now, the things are still working very well.
Okay.
And I can tell you without any fear or favor that one of the reasons why the crisis in Manu did not have an immediate stop when this thing started is because we did not invoke our gods rightfully the way we're supposed to do. I will explain that out of studio. If we had done that, trust me, nobody would have killed any son or daughter of Manu. Nobody.
Thank you.
Even now that I'm speaking to you, if we go back to the drawing board and we go back, you just cited 2. There are 5.
Okay, which are the other 3?
One of them is also called Mfam. The other one is called the Sibiri. And when you join them with the Obasanjo, and then you join them with the other societies that I will not cite those other 2 here because they are deadly. If we evoke them, yes, if we evoke them, the boomerang is going to be very dangerous.
Okay.
And I think the chiefs themselves, we saw some consequences about it.
Okay.
And so we decided to play the moderate part. But it is getting to the level where we think we need to do something.
Okay,
right.
thank you. I'm not going to dig deeper because if you are a traditional ruler there and you fear, I should not dare.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We're going to move over to the fund of Bengui. The same question: should traditional rulers do partisan politics?
First of all, Kilian, I will say that tolerance is the foundation on which the society is built. It is inevitable for traditional rulers not to be part of partisan politics. First of all, we understand the fact that the government in which we are today has seen it necessary that traditional rulers should be part of partisan politics. That is why the government has created the House of Chiefs, wherein traditional rulers come in to select their peers that can represent them at this level. Gone are those days that traditional rulers were left to stay only in the palaces. We understand that as an enlightened traditional ruler, you must be someone who can go out there and face it for the people. And as time is passing, we understand that the traditional ways in which we used to govern our people is gradually changing. But it is not that we are departing from it, but we have to associate ourselves with the modern system of governing. That is why you see traditional rulers engaging in partisan politics. There are other countries in the world, like Morocco, where kings are governing the country.
Yeah, they are supreme rulers.
They are supreme rulers. And they are governing the countries well. And in another case, I will say that if we look at some of the traditional rulers that have been at the helm of partisan politics in Cameroon, like King Mukete.
Exact.
He used to live happily with his people. And
Be they from the left or the right or the center in terms of politics. Yes, I agree to that.
That is it. And when you look at a king like him, he is well placed to know the problems of the people. And just as my colleague said, it is true that the politics in our country today is that of which, if you don't support a particular party to see, you might not be able to to have resources for your
Thank you very much,
kingdom.
Mbe. Thank you very much for the positions you've taken and for the examples you have given. You have actually substantiated your points, giving examples. Now, Marcel, you have listened to, you have watched these traditional rulers. I want you to make a comment on that and then develop your own point. Why should traditional rulers not do partisan politics?
Kilian, their responses are quite interesting. It tells you the complex nature of the issue at hand. Basically, if I were to start theorizing, we will say that, okay, normally traditional rulers should not be part of politics. That is at a level of theory. That you can be theorizing scholarly in school and you say, no, these people should not be part of
They should be
politics.
neutral.
Why? Because we believe that these are deities of a certain standing that have a bearing on everybody in their communities. But now back to reality, what I call the Cameroonian reality. It in the Cameroonian reality, I think barring a traditional ruler out of politics would be like pushing some of them to commit suicide. Sorry to say that. Why? Because it is a system that has been entrenched for decades. Can you go and tell the Sultan of the Bamouns to quit partisan politics? Can you go to Kumba and tell Fonmukete the Fourth to quit partisan politics? Can you go to Mankon and tell the Fonangwafo the Fourth to quit politics? Both sides of the coins, you have people who are doing well. If you go to Bafut, the founder of Bafut is doing quite well. He's not into politics. You barely hear his name. If you go to Com, you barely hear the name of the founder of Com. Within political circles, those kings are doing quite well. There are a number of others in other chiefdoms that are doing quite well outside politics. Within politics, we have those who have come into politics. They have institutionalized politics in their dynasties, and they are doing well. But the problem now is, at the level of our democracy, we have a problem with domesticating Western democracy. It is a huge challenge in domesticating Western democracy because if you look across African countries, what the leadership in power does is trying to subjugate traditional rulers. Everybody knows that once you are a king in a community, everybody prostrate before the king. Even though we have diluted some of those things, but you don't just go into the presence of a king because you don't know. It is something of a different level. But because we are trying to domesticate democracy to our own advantages in power, they try to subjugate the traditional ruler to a very tight corner. Why? Because of the issue of God, because the regime in place sees traditional rulers as gatekeepers of vote banks. If you access, the belief is that if, for instance, you go to Fort Abe and you access the king's palace, you discuss with him,
then you have
the implication is that if he comes out and speaks, it's like God is speaking.
Yes.
You cannot go and tell Lamido of Rebuba at the standing and level to quit politics. That is why at the beginning of this program, I talked about sensitizing people, because most people don't yet know what is politics. People think that politics is warfare. No. There is something that has run across the submissions of the three kings on set today. They talk about the king going out to hunt. They talked about the king empowering the subjects to go out to hunt. If our kings go into politics without mindset, we'll have more of a friendly atmosphere.
Okay.
But we have a situation where it is me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. Oh, I'm king, so I must become senator. I must become MP. I must become the president of the Southwest House of Chiefs. I must become president of the Northwest House of Chiefs. It ought not to be so.
Thank you very much.
Let me submit.
Okay.
I'm still on my feet. The traditional law of Mbengwi cited the issue of the House of Chiefs, the North and Southwest. I think people who understand the workings of the West Cameroon House of Chiefs know that what we have today is a charade. That is not the House of Chiefs. It's an insult to the traditional institutions we have in North and Southwest.
No, I cannot.
We have to restructure them. No,
I cannot let you call them such names.
Let me give you an example.
I cannot let you call them such names.
I am describing the situation on ground.
No,
you kill and you are merely pretending.
I am not pretending. Do you know why I'm not pretending? Because you have concluded before coming to explain. You don't conclude.
My thoughts are not your thoughts. You cannot say I have concluded before coming to explain.
What did you describe them again?
I didn't describe it. I said the house of chiefs we have in the northwest and southwest, not the.
I know. What do you
As
call
it is
that?
a charade compared to what obtained in the West Cameroon days.
No.
Let me explain to you. Let me explain
We
to
are
you.
coming back to a
You
situation.
will come back, but you.
We are coming back to a
But can you allow
We
me-
are reviving a situation.
Can you allow me to substantiate?
It has just started.
Other substantiated I didn't disturb. When it came to me, maybe you don't like the thoughts I'm submitting on said.
That
Ask
is
me to
not the
go.
issue.
I work in the office.
Let me tell you that since you started speaking, you've spoken already for about 6 minutes.
I don't
If
think
you-
so. They spoke for at least 7 minutes. Why not allow me finish the remaining 1 minute?
6
If that's
and
the
7
case,
minutes.
It's
Is there no
60
problem?
seconds.
When they were talking, I was also
No,
interjecting.
you were
I was
clapping through
also-
everything. But now
I
that I'm
was
saying
also
something that
interjecting.
you feel that would make you uncomfortable within CRTV, you don't want me to talk. So
Well,
why did you invite me?
I have to be comfortable in CRTV because this is CRTV.
So allow me help the Cameroonian people.
No,
We are building
you
society.
cannot help the Cameroonian people by insulting the House of Chiefs.
I am not. I compare the two. In the northwest and southwest, I don't even want to go national. There are a lot of problems we have within chiefdoms. Let me go back to the story of theory because I told you about the Cameroonian reality and theory. In theory, all the chieftaincy problems we have in the north and south, it is the House of Chiefs that is supposed to be at the front seat. Why the administration just collaborates with them? You have good results. But when you have the administration overriding over these traditional institutions, what do you expect with the results?
Do you know for how long the House of Chiefs, the present House of Chiefs, has been in place?
I know you want to start saying that they will mature in the process.
You are getting the answer.
No,
you are getting the answer.
I'm not getting the answer.
Do you know for how long?
That is why I talked about domesticating Western democracy is a challenge. Because if we had a situation where those in power insulated traditional rulers on politics, and we create a window for them. For instance, at the National Assembly, there are 26 for traditional rulers. Go and sort yourselves out. There is this for traditional rulers. You will not have any friction. There is another funny one you call the national whatever traditional rulers. Very soon next year you start seeing them meeting together, and when you look at the majority of those who are in that executive, you know where they belong. If I call the name now, you start seeing them insulting them.
Okay.
It's not an insult.
If you insult them, I will tell you you are insulting.
No, I don't.
Now, do you see that you have spoken even more than them? So I give the
I have
chance.
to balance up because if I don't do that,
Are you okay now?
let's progress.
Very good. So this is Express R, and we are broadcasting live from Studio 4 here in Yaoundé. And if you have any question, you could ask us. Next time we're going to include interactive questions into this program. You can write to us and we read your answers, and our guests will answer on the set. We are going to have 2 questions in the next 10 minutes that we have to end this program. The first one is when Marcel and the Fono Mbengwe were talking, they made mention of the place of the traditional rulers, and they didn't call the name, but they said administration was using them. It is officially known that the chiefs, the Fons, the kings are auxiliaries of the administration. Now, let me begin with the chief of Fotabe. When they say you are the auxiliaries of the administration, it means you actually take part in governing the country.
Well, whether they call
Or does
us,
it mean something else?
when they call us auxiliary or not, we are taking part in the governance of the country.
Yes.
And doing so at the most delicate level, which is where we are in direct contact with the people which emanate to form the country. And so auxiliary term that is used in the law is pejorative. By pejorative, I mean it is negative, where some civil administrators have considered that they are our bosses. And why is it so? This is because the law gives the civil administrator the chance to come and enthrone you or confirm your enthronation. The only thing they have not succeeded to do is to permit them to come and do the selection. So at that level, it is right because we do our selection and then they come to confirm what is there with an administrative note. And it is okay by that. So we are supposed to work as collaborators, not auxiliary the way they look at it. For example, we have seen cases where a civil administrator has ordered a traditional ruler to be arrested. We have seen a case where a traditional ruler has been asked to be overthrown because of his position that he is holding. We have seen cases where elites have denigrated traditional ruler and he cannot do otherwise at the level of state, because now we are in a state compared to when we had the powers.
Your Royal
Because-
Highness,
yes.
I beg your pardon. You are kings, chiefs within a country.
Yes.
Why don't you think that if one chief does something against the law of the nation, they should not be called to order?
No, they should be called to order if they do something wrong. We are saying of cases where the chief's opinion is contrary. Contrary is different from being wrong. Because in most cases, there is no chief that can stand against the state. There is no one.
Okay.
Because one, he works within that state. And his kingdom alone cannot form a country.
Okay.
So if he's fighting against the state, is to rule in which context? Secondly, as the chief of Benue said, we have progressed to the state where we have let go some of our past. Because the country that we have today started with us. Before the colonial masters came, we were the ones ruling. So party, whatever it is, we were the ones in charge. When the colonial masters came, we were still the ones in charge. The first treaties that they signed with Cameroon that were signed with our senior colleagues, our ancestors of blessed memory, King Mangabel, King Akwa, the Fond of Mancon, and all the rest. They are the ones who signed those treaties with colonial masters. So if the world has evolved and we have embraced foreign democracy as it is said, whereas we had our own democracy, it is not a topic yet to discuss. Maybe next time about our governance will come to that.
Yeah.
So if we have evolved and we have decided to submit to a nation, to a country which is made up of nations that we form, we should be given that priority to do our work. Because let me tell you something, the reason why most of the problems occur in most of our villages and Cameroon as a whole is because of the limited power that they have given to us, who can control our subjects at base level.
That is exactly where I am moving to, and I would like the fun of Kumze Cook.
Yes,
okay.
Thank
to
you.
answer, this is the question that I'm going to ask. It is a follow up to what the king of Otabe is saying. You have such powers. We have been in this crisis, and you have authority over what is happening in your different kingdoms, chiefdoms, and the rest. Why haven't you used your powers? Some of them mystical. It's true that the chief of Otabe said they didn't evoke these mystical powers from the beginning. Yet now, why haven't you done that now? He said they are considering that to be done. Why can't you? And then what do you have to do to stop what is happening, given that you come from where?
Thank you very much, Killian. I think before I will answer your question, I would like to, first of all, make an observation about what my colleague, the Fond of Benue, said. Yes, what I outlined from the beginning is what traditional authorities have to be to maintain their neutrality and get the favors from the gods for the development, economic and social development of their people. What he actually said, like what Ziko talked about, is the present context. If politics could have not been looked as a game where if you are in party A and another one is in party B, you become enemies and not political opponents, we will say traditional authorities will go freely to participate in partisan politics. If it was that the House of Chiefs, which my colleague referred to, if that House of Chiefs was not constituted based on political lines, it would be a true representative, because bear with me, when they say auxiliaries to administration, like you already said, is pejorative. It is, to me, they should discard of this and remove it. You cannot be an elected person who comes, like for those of us in the Northwest, if you don't have royal blood flow in your veins, you cannot be a Fon one day. You cannot be a king. If you, in the Northwest, if you are not that person that is chosen by the gods, you are not by any political means brought in to represent your people, you can be legally and not legitimately.
Okay.
That's why we should take note of the two terms, legality and legitimacy.
Yes.
A reform has legitimacy.
Yes.
Then now, you asked a question about the powers.
We have 2.5 minutes
yes,
to go.
You talk about...
Let your colleague...
No, you talk about... You asked me a question which I'm about to answer. Mr. Killian, the answer to that question you asked, the answer to the question you asked was, for me, this partisan politics has created an atmosphere of non-conviviality, an atmosphere of disunity amongst the traditional authorities
and their
throughout Cameroon
and their people. Yes,
and their people. And
yes. Let the phone of Bengui say
so
something.
unanimous
We have just 2 minutes to go.
The incantations and whatever to bring down peace and denounce terrorists that are disturbing the nation from growing. We cannot grow out of this country. We must only grow within the country.
Thank you very much, the phone on Bengui, and this will be the way forward.
I think that for Kings of Northwest, we have already started coming together to see that we can rebuild what our parents left for us in Norwefo. It is a strong institution where decisions were being taken pertaining to our customs and tradition. And I think that if this institution comes back, it will be a wonderful support to the House of Chiefs. We should know that the House of Chiefs is apolitical. It is a house where there are only the kings or the chiefs that select those that are going to represent them there. And we should know that out of this, most of our traditions cannot be performed to see that peace return to our country, because most of the kings are
not united. Thank you. They are out of their kingdoms. Thank you very much. Marcel, you have seen, my director producer is telling me that the time is up. In 30 seconds, strictly, what's your last word?
If there is any message I have to pass across, you should go straight to the head of state, and there is an urgent need to restructure the chieftaincy institution in Cameroon. The 1977 chieftaincy law in Cameroon is obsolete.
Thank you very much, and I assure you that the message goes to the head of state directly. Thank you very much. We had His Royal Highness Njokem Adino Awa III, that is King Fon of Bengui, His Royal Highness Siseko Eyongta, who is the king, he is the chief of Fortabe village, His Royal Highness Shungong Emmanuel, who is the king, he is the Fon, he likes that one because that's how his people recognize him, of Nkumze Cook. We had Marcel Fokwen, who is political desk editor, the Guardian Post. On behalf of the production team, we are saying thanks for watching. But if you missed out on this program, there will be a rebroadcast on Monday at 2:30 on CRTV Premium, which you are watching now. And you can equally watch this program on Wednesday after the news in French, that is by 9 p.m. on CRTV News. God bless you.